A Think Aloud is a metacognitive strategy that enables you as an expert learner to model your thought process when solving problems. So when you're solving a problem in maths, you are giving the children an insight into the decisions that you are making when you're solving a problem. So we don't realise how many invisible decisions we are making while we solve problems in maths. And a Think Aloud really makes the implicit explicit. It really makes it clear to the learners what it is you're doing, how you're doing it, and why you're doing it as well. So in the past, I very much thought I was doing a Think Aloud quite effectively because I was really modelling to the children what I was doing, how I was doing it, and how I was solving that problem. But I very much think I missed out the why I was doing it. And the why is incredibly important because that's what develops the children's metacognition. It gives the children an insight into why you are making those decisions and why you are choosing that strategy, why it would be efficient to draw a problem, or why it would be efficient to use a table to work systematically, to make those decisions really clear to the learner, so that over time, hopefully they will start to develop a bank of ideas that they can draw on themselves to become independent problem solvers. I think Aloud can be used any time that you think it would be really effective for the children to see your thought process modelled really clearly, and to see that process modelled of how you are solving a problem and why you are choosing the strategies that you are choosing to do. Specifically with problem solving in maths, it can be used in whole class teaching, and it can be used to model the process from the very beginning of the problem solving process to the end of it, how to get started, what strategies you might use throughout, what to do if you're stuck, and also how to evaluate how you've solved that problem and reflect on the effectiveness of that at the end. But it doesn't have to be the whole problem solving process from beginning to end. It can be that you just use Think Aloud to model and to explicitly show your thinking to solve part of a part of the problem that you think the children might find particularly difficult. So it might be one day that it is the getting started that you find that the children will find difficult, and that's the bit that you want to do for your Think Aloud. It might be how to overcome a barrier if you get stuck, maybe trying a different strategy out, going down a different pathway to solve the problem, what to do if you realise that actually your strategy isn't working very well, to monitor how you're going throughout the process and decide if what you're doing is working or whether you need to make a different decision and change the path that you are going down, and also to reflect at that end point. Have you solved the problem completely? Going back to the problem at the very beginning and thinking, have I completed this problem as a whole, and reflecting on that. Why did I choose that strategy? Was that the most effective strategy? Would I do that again if I was to do that problem again another time, or a similar problem again another time? I always use the first person when I'm doing a Think Aloud. I ask myself questions, and I think it's really important that I use the first person so that the children really see that it's my thought processes and it's my decisions that I'm making. But by using these questions and answering in the first person, it also makes it really clear for them to be able to have those questions to use themselves, so they can reflect and use those questions when they're working independently through their own problem solving process. I also use the metacognitive cycle: plan, monitor, and evaluate. So I ask myself questions at each stage of that process. So when planning and getting started, I might ask myself questions such as, what do I notice? What is the problem asking me to do? And what strategy could I therefore use to get started to help me see the maths? Then during the monitoring phase of the process, I might be asking myself questions such as, is this approach working? Is it successful so far? Or I might say, oh, I'm stuck. Ask myself questions, what could I do now that I'm stuck? And check that my approach is still working, or do I need to change the approach that I'm going? Do I need to change the direction I'm going down for this problem solving? And then finally, in the evaluation stage, I might ask myself, does my answer make sense in context of the problem? And also I ask myself, what have I learned about myself as a learner? Would I do that again next time? Would I change my approach? And questions like that.